Okay, I'm going to ask you this. I know this is almost interview-esque, this conversation so far, and just because you're, for the audience listening, Daniel's knowledge of this is so vastly superior to mine that I want to suck as much from Daniel for both myself and you guys listening as well. So one final question on this before we get to the sections of the LinkedIn profile. Who owns the LinkedIn profile? So you mentioned working with marketing then. Clearly, it'd be useful from a sales leadership perspective to have everyone with the same messaging on the profiles if they're all in the same organization selling similar or the same products. Is it really owned by the individual, or how much sway does a sales management and sales leadership and marketing have over our own profiles? Should we allow them to have that sway and the influence over them?
That is probably one of the best questions you could ask, Will. I'm certainly impressed. In my opinion, and honestly, though, I see so many people with different opinions on this. From my perspective, it's owned by the individual. But actually, my preference and my recommendation is for a company to have a level of uniformity in the profiles where they all do look similar. But what I would really argue is that doesn't restrict or hinder the potential success that an individual can have. That doesn't stop you shining as an individual. You can still be just as successful, but you'll be able to achieve so much more, I think, as an individual and as a company. So yes, it is owned by you. It should be owned by you. You should have the password. You should have it connected to your email, and to be able to change it. It is your LinkedIn profile. But whilst you're working for a company, if you want to use it to generate sales, to generate business, then you need to connect it with the wider business. But we can we'll touch on that with some of the key areas.
Yeah, and maybe you agree, but I'll go one step further in that you should violently control your own LinkedIn profile from that perspective of it's an asset that you own. So LinkedIn wasn't really what it is now when I worked in medical device sales, but I went from one medical device company to their biggest competitor. They both own, it's like 49% of the market share they both own in endoscopic camera systems. And if I had a big audience on LinkedIn selling to surgeons in one, I would have definitely took it to the other, and I would have talked about it in an interview. I would have used it as leverage to get the job. So I would never give anyone my password other than perhaps, I don't know, terms and conditions. I might be getting in trouble here, but I might give it to my team to post content or do different things on it. But other than that, I certainly wouldn't give it to my boss or someone within the marketing team within my organization. It's your own asset. You're going to put effort into it. You're probably going to be doing work out of office hours, whether it's creating content, commenting, sharing, building your own profile. And so don't let anyone bully you into anything other than kind of you own it as its own asset. So with that, Daniel, I think this is the easiest part of a profile to cover. Should our name just be our name, or is there opportunity to stuff keywords in there, add icons, smiley faces? What should we be doing with our names on LinkedIn in that specific part of the profile?
So the reality is, and different LinkedIn trainers and experts each have different ways they like to push. The reality is there is little difference in the different variations. So you can just have your name. You can have your name followed by something about what it is you do. So, it could be Daniel Disney, social selling trainer, you could have your name and an emoji. You could have an emoji and then your name. The impact that has compared to others is really minimal. I tend to stick with just my name. I trialed the emoji before my name merely for the fact of spam messaging. So when you put an emoji before your name on your LinkedIn profile, all those automated sort of spam messaging platforms, they just say hi emoji, and you can tell when a message has come from
That's hilarious.
Human being. And honestly, the amount of messages was quite shocking.